Hello students, welcome to Vistas Learning. This is Shruti D. Nadgar, your chemistry tutor. Students, we are in Vistas Learning where we provide the quality education for all. We are in 11th standard chemistry and we are dealing with the reactions. What is this reactions? What reactions we are studying about? We are studying about the loss of electrons and gain of electrons, which leads to the oxidation and reduction, which gives the name of the chapter as redox reaction. And this is our third lecturing class. Hope you have not missed the other classes. If you have missed, get back to our web application www.v-learning.in. Fine. This is the homework which I have allotted you. Did you do this? What is the question about? The question was about that the bold elements, whatever we have given the bold elements, we need to find out the oxidation number of the bold elements in the given list. The first one I have already did for you and I have asked to do the rest. Did you do that or you forgot? If you have done, it's well and good, students. If you have forgotten to do this, you can try it before. You can pause the video. Before I solve it out, write it down. Write down the oxidation numbers of the bold elements and you can again play it. Fine. Coming back with this, the first one we have already done. I'll go with the second one. What do you get here? We have aluminium, which always have +3 charge. And inside the brackets, we have nitrogen and oxygen, which gives you nitrate. And outside the bracket, we have 3. You need to remember this 3 and this is the 3 for both the elements. Okay, fine. So now we need to find out X for nitrogen, oxidation number of nitrogen. So I'll write X for nitrogen. Oxygen we know it will be -2. Aluminium it will be +3. So if I add it up, the sum of all the oxidation numbers of each element should be equal to 0. Why? Because here we don't have any charge on the molecule or it is not an ion. So +3. Here we have 3x. This 3 is also for nitrogen and also for oxygen. So 3 into n, we get 3x. Here 3x plus we have 3x again because of this. And here we have 3 into 2. That is 3 2s are 6. That into this. So for eradicating the confusion, I'll write plus here and I'll take this 3 into 3 2s are 6. That is having minus sign. So we'll get -6. That will be equal to 0. So if we do this, we'll get +3 plus 3x plus, we'll get plus or minus. Plus into minus is minus. 6 3s are 18. That will be equal to 0. So +18 plus -18 plus 3 will get -15. Here we'll get +3x. That will be equal to 0, where x will be equal to 15/3, which gives you +5. So by this, nitrogen will have the oxidation number of +5. Understood, students? Is it fine? Fine. Similarly, magnesium, if you see, magnesium will be +3. It will be having +2 into 3. Plus phosphorus, we need to find it out. So 2 into phosphorus, so 2x plus 4 2s are 8. 8 into -2. So we get 3 2s are 6. That is +6 plus 2x minus 8 2s are 16 will be equal to 0. So we'll get 2x is equals to 16 minus 6 is 10. So minus 10 comes on the other side, it will become plus 10. So x will be equal to 10 by 2. So you will get plus 5 for phosphorus. Got it? Similarly for sulfate, nitrogen, ammonia you can take, it is completely for NH4 plus 2, NH4 twice SO4. Here sulfur is X, so nitrogen and NH4 plus completely will be plus 1. We can call it as radical. This completely will be equal to plus 1. So totally plus 1 into 2 plus 2 plus of X. Then we have this 4 is only for oxygen, not for sulfur. So then we have oxygen, 4 2s are 8. So it will be minus 8, which will be equal to 0, where we get X is equals to plus 6. Got it? Minus 8 plus 2, it is minus 6. On the other side, if you transfer it, we'll get X is equals to plus 6. Next we have chromium, where X plus 4 2s are 8. So I am taking minus 8. That will be equal to minus 2. We have a charge on the molecule here. So it is a ion. So that charge will be equated on the other side, where we are exactly equating the 0 for neutral molecules. So X will be equal to minus 2 plus 8. That will become plus 6. So X is equals to plus 6 for chromium. Okay. For manganese, Mn X plus 4 2s are 8. So I'll write minus 8 for oxygen. That will be equal to minus 1. Why? Because we have minus here. So it will be equal to minus 1. Hence X will be equal to minus 1 plus 8 will get plus 7. So manganese in manganite will have Mn as plus 7 state. And you need to remember plus 7 is the maximum state where the third period can have. Br O3 minus. So Br is X and we have oxygen 3 2s are 6. So minus 6 is equals to how much? The part or the charge on the molecule is minus 1. So we get X is equals to plus 5. So bromine will have plus 5. You need to remember, students, even though halogen, bromine is a halogen, it is getting plus state because it is reacting with oxygen, which is more electronegative than that of bromine. So to know this periodic table is very much important. Hence we have already done with the classification of periods or the properties of the elements. I hope you can understand this better. Next we have magnesium silicon fluoride. So we have magnesium as plus 2 plus silicon we have to find it out plus fluorine is always minus 1. So it will be minus 1 into 6 is minus 6, which will be equal to 0 because we don't have any power here or any charge. So X is equals to minus 6 plus 2. It will be minus 4. When we transfer it, we get plus 4. So we have Si4 plus 4. Hope you understand this. Good. If you have got the same answers, well and good. Or if you have got other or different answers, please do check with that, students. Okay. Next, I have given you this as a second homework, or you have to do this. What is the question says about here? Where we have each reaction given, we need to draw the arrow marks to show the electron numbers. How to show that? We have to show either the gain of electrons or loss of electrons, and we need to say if it is a loss of electron, it is oxidation. If it is gain of electrons, it is reduction. So the first one, if we see magnesium plus oxygen gives you MgO. So Mg plus O2 gives you MgO. Here students, as we know, magnesium, when it is been reacting with oxygen, it will have +2 state and oxygen will have -2 state. But as I already stated, in elementary forms, the elements will have 0 oxidation state. That means magnesium has changed from 0 to +2 and oxygen has changed from 0 to -2. So if it is positive from 0 to positive or increase in oxidation number, that means loss of electrons is taking place. Instead, if it is negative or 0 to negative, or if it is decreasing, either if it is +3 to +2, there also decrease in oxidation number takes place. If that is the case also, it is gain of electrons. So, magnesium is undergoing loss of electron, where we can say it is undergoing oxidation, whereas oxygen is undergoing reduction. Got it? We'll check with the second one. Chlorine is in elementary form, so it will be 0. I'll take the next other ink. So blue one, I hope you can see this. So iodine is -1. So 0 to chlorine is being shifted to -1. So 0 to -1 means it is being decreased. So electron is being gained. Gain of electron is reduction. So chlorine is undergoing reduction, whereas this iodine is undergoing oxidation because it is gaining losing electron. Iodine is losing electron, chlorine is gaining electron. So chlorine is undergoing reduction, whereas iodine is undergoing oxidation. Next, MnO4 minus, and then we have C2O4 2 minus. We'll check here what happens with the Mn. So Mn, as we just checked in the previous one, Mn will have +7 state in this condition, right? It will have +7 state. So Mn having +7, 2 in the product side you can get, it has got Mn +2. So here 5 electrons are gained. So gain of 5 electrons takes place. So we can call them as reduction. Mn is undergoing reduction. And oxygen is -2 in all the cases. So we are not referring oxygen now. Which is the other element present? We have carbon which is present. So what is the oxidation number of carbon here? We need to check it out. So 2x. Why? Because 2 carbon atoms we have. So 2 into x plus 4 2s are 8. -8 for oxygen. That will be equal to -2 as we have the charge -2 on oxalate. So on simplification, you will get -8 goes to on the other side, it will become +6 and x is equals to +3. So here it will be having +3 state, and when it comes to the oxygen, it becomes carbon dioxide. X is equals to, I'll just write over here. So for carbon dioxide, that will be equal to x is equals to x plus 2 2s are -4, which is equals to 0. Then we'll get x is equals to +4. So from +3 to +4 it has been changed. That means increase in oxidation number. That means loss of electron takes place. So carbon is undergoing oxidation, whereas here decrease in oxidation number state or oxidation state. So we can say Mn is undergoing reduction. Next, chromium is in elementary form, so it is 0. NO2 minus. So nitrogen we need to find it out. So NO2 minus, so we have x here plus 4 2 will get 2 2s are 4, -4 is equals to -1. So it will be x is equals to +3. So nitrogen will have +3 here. which will be equal to, here we have chromium. I'll just erase this. Fine. So we have CrO2 minus. So there X plus, again we'll get the same thing. We'll get it as plus 3. Okay. Then we have N2O2 2 minus. So 2x plus 4 is equals to, it is plus of minus 4. That will be equal to minus 2. So we have 2x is equals to minus 4 comes on the other side, we'll get plus 2. So x divided 2 by 2 is equals to 1. So we get plus 1. Nitrogen will have plus 1. Now from chromium 0 to plus 3, that means 3 electrons it is been lost. So it is undergoing oxidation. Whereas nitrogen, it is from 0 to plus 1. So it is been gaining 2 electrons. So it is undergoing reduction. Hope you are understanding all these things, how to do this, students. Okay, good. Next one is bromine, where we can see here bromine is minus 1. Here it is, you can calculate directly. 3 2s are 6, 6 minus 1, 5. So it will be plus 5. Plus 5 to minus 1. So it is been gaining the electron or losing the electron? It is gaining electron. So gain of electron gives you what? Reduction. Mn, as we see, Mn will be plus 4 here. So Mn here, it will be plus 7. So it is increase in oxidation number. So it is loss of electrons. So it is reduction, oxidation. Here it is reduction. Here it is oxidation. Bromine is undergoing reduction. Mn is undergoing oxidation. Coming with the sixth question. Fe is plus 2. If Fe is plus 3. So it is directly visible from ferrous to ferric. It has been changed. So plus 3 has been coming from plus 2. So it is increase in oxidation number. We can say loss of electron takes place. So it is undergoing oxidation. Whereas Mn here we know it is plus 7. It has been decreased to plus 2. So it is undergoing reduction. Next, chromium, it is 0 in the elementary state, 0 to plus 3. So as we see in the other cases also, 0 to plus 3, it is increase in oxidation number and loss of electron takes place. So it is undergoing oxidation reaction. Whereas Zn is plus 4, here it is plus 2, it is reduced. The oxidation number is reduced or gain of electrons. So we can say stannous is undergoing reduction. Nitrogen, we can see the sulfur here first. You can go with the elementary ones, it will be always 0. As you see in the sulfuric acid, will have H2S 2 plus X plus of minus 8 will be equal to 0. So X will be equal to plus 6. So sulfur will have plus 6 here, where it is an elementary form in the reactant side. Excuse me. So here 0 to plus 6, we have increase in oxidation number or removal of electrons. So it is undergoing oxidation. Whereas nitrogen, you can see nitrogen here it is plus 4, where here it is plus 5 state. So it is been reduced in the oxidation number or gain of electron has taken place. So we can say nitrogen is undergoing reduction. Next we have I. Here students, you can see iO4 minus plus, which is giving rise to I minus plus I2. Here we don't have the oxygen, that is the separate thing. You can just check with the I here. We are about to say the oxidation number of I. So here I2 is elementary form, so it is 0. I is an ion, so I minus 1 we have. It is in combined form here, so I will have X is equals to plus 7. How in the sense? 4 2s are minus 8, which is equals to minus 1. So when it goes there, it will get plus 7. So here we have the I or iodine in plus 7 state, minus 1 state and 0 state in the elementary form. Right. So when you have these kind where one reactant is giving rise to more than two elements of the same with different oxidation number. This will be considered as a separate reaction that we'll study in the types of reaction. Okay, you just remember this, we call it as disproportionation reaction. It is not exactly proportionated because one is not giving rise to only one, but we have two or more elements with different oxidation number. So we call this as disproportionation reaction. Okay, where iodine is undergoing oxidation and it will be undergoing reduction. Got it? This is the exception. We'll speak about this a bit later. Next one, NO2, which gives you +4 here. Chlorine, where chlorine gives you how much? X. We have O minus. So it will be -2, which is equals to -1. So X is equals to -1 plus 2. It will be +1. So chlorine will have +1 here. Nitrogen will have +5. So from +4 to +5 it has been changing. So it is increase in oxidation number, loss of electrons. So oxidation is been taking place with nitrogen, where for chlorine it has been +1 to -1. So it has +1, it has been decreased to -1. So it is a gaining electron, where we say it is reduction takes place here. Hope it's fine, students. Did you understand all these things? Good. Next, we have the types of redox reactions. So whenever we speak a reaction is taking place, we have some types in that. Mainly in chemical reactions, we have 4 types. One is combination reaction, where we are studying right now. Combination reaction means what? 2 or more elements combine to form a single unit or single substance. That we call it as combination reaction. You can see here the 2 or more elements or compounds combine together to form a new substance, or sometimes new substances. We call it as combination reaction. Generally, the equation will be A plus B, which gives rise to new substance C. So almost all the combustion reactions can be called as the combination reactions, because they combine together to give the other new compound. For example, if you take the fuel which is burning, that reacts with oxygen to form the oxide. Carbon reacts with oxygen to form carbon dioxide. Likewise, we can have the categories here. The combination reaction is the first one among the types of reaction, redox reaction. Here also, when they are either combining or decomposing or displacing, we have one giving and other taking to form some other thing. So here we have element combining with other element to form a new compound. So carbon is an element which is made up of only carbon atoms. Oxygen is an element which is made up of only oxygen atoms. When they both combine to form a carbon dioxide or carbon monoxide, which is a new compound. So this is how we have the element combining to give a new compound. Now we have compound element combining to give a new compound. So you can have, this is also element 1, but we can take some other examples later, where magnesium nitrogen reacting to give magnesium nitride. This is not an example of compound element, it is element. Okay, coming with compound which gives you a new compound. Here we have calcium oxide, which reacts with carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is separate compound, calcium oxide is separate compound, which both of them combine together to give one compound, which is calcium carbonate. Understood? So these are the 3 things we can categorize in combination reaction. Generally, combination reaction is that where 2 or more combine together to give a new compound. Next, we have the second one, decomposition reaction. It is exactly opposite to that of combination. You are combining, here it is decomposition or decombination reaction, you can say. So in this reaction, it is, as I said, it is opposite to that of combination reaction. The breakdown of compound takes place into 2 or more. Don't say the breakdown takes place in 1 or more. Because when the breaking happens, at least you should have two pieces, right? So we should take two or more components or two or more compounds which is been formed. That two or more compound should be different one, not the same one, okay? Next we have compound which is giving rise to element and element, where water, if you pass through the electricity is been passed through this water, we get hydrogen and oxygen as the elements. So as we know, water molecule is made up of hydrogen and oxygen. When we pass the electricity through the water, we get hydrogen separate, oxygen separate, which are two different elements with different properties. Next we have the compound which is been giving you compound plus element. Here again you can take an example of hydrogen peroxide, which gives you water and oxygen. Water is a molecule, whereas oxygen is an element. Next we have the compound which is giving rise to compound plus compound. That means why we are saying these things, if you are having a decomposition reaction or combination reaction, it doesn't mean only two elements should react or only two compounds should react. Either the element can react, compound can react, or element and compound can react. So here we have sodium carbonate. When you give the heat energy or thermal energy, we get sodium oxide plus carbon dioxide, where carbon dioxide is also a compound, sodium oxide is also a compound. The third one is that displacement reaction. What does this displacement reaction says? As the word says, displace. Displace means what? We are taking out the place of someone and placing some another person in that same place. So as I explained you yesterday about the stronger person coming and hitting the weaker or leaner one and occupying his place. Same thing takes place with displacement reaction. So an ion or an atom is being replaced by an atom or an ion from its compound. So for example, if I have X plus YZ, YZ is a compound which is made up of Y element and Z element. This X comes and kicks out Y. It takes the place of Y. So the compound which is formed is XZ and Y is been elemented out, or it has been taken out. Metal displacement and non-metal displacement are the two methods which we can find out in displacement composition reaction. A metal in a compound can be displaced by another metal in the combined state. That means if you have a combined state of element or a metal, that can be removed by the other metal. So metal displacement reaction have applications in metallurgy, as in the first session itself we have informed you to remove the pure metals from its ores, because ores are made up of combination of halides, sulfides, oxides and chlorides, right? So when the metal is been mixed with the other element to form the ore, to just take out the pure metal from the ore, we use this displacement reaction. So for example, we have copper sulfate. As we have seen in the last session, copper sulfate we immerse the zinc, where zinc is been displacing copper to give zinc sulfate, and copper is been elemented out. Means it is been left as a element. It is converted as a element, you can say. Got it? So here zinc is more reactive. So zinc can easily displace copper and get zinc sulfate. Next you can see here, vanadium pentoxide reacts with calcium to give vanadium and calcium oxide. That means the vanadium is been displaced. Calcium displaces vanadium from its oxide state and we get calcium oxide. You can also get the oxidation number here, students. What is the oxidation number of vanadium? You can find it out. Calcium you can find it out. Here it is 0. Oxygen is -2. Vanadium, if you take 5 2s are 8. 8 minus 5 2s are 10. 10 minus 2 is 8. So 8 by 2 will give you 4. So vanadium will be having plus 4 as the oxidation number, where here it will be 0. Here calcium will be plus 2, oxygen will be minus 2. Got it? So you can easily identify which is undergoing oxidation, which is undergoing reduction. But the thing what we are speaking here is that displacement. So calcium is more stronger than vanadium. So it can easily displace the vanadium from its oxide, and calcium oxide is being formed by removal of vanadium. Similarly, titanium tetrachloride, when it is been reacting with magnesium. Why we are speaking about this? These are the alkali earth metals. These alkaline earth metals are stronger than these D block elements or D block metals. So they can easily displace the D block metals and form the compounds. So magnesium is reacting with titanium tetrachloride to form magnesium chloride, and titanium is given out as an element. Next we have chromium oxide. So chromium oxide and aluminium, it is 0 here. Here it will be plus 3, and chromium is 0 here, where 3 2s are 6, and it will get plus 3 here. Got it? So aluminium is more reactive than chromium. So it can displace the chromium from its oxide state and get the aluminium oxide. The reducing agents, or you can say reducing metals, is a better reducing agent than the one that is being reduced. Got it? So the reducing metal, the one which is been reduced, here. So if you see, chromium is been reduced to 0, right? So chromium is gaining the electron to become 0. So it is been undergoing reduction. So chromium is reduced. The reducing metal is better reducing agent than the one that is been reduced. So here the chromium is the metal which is been acting as a good reducing agent to reduce the other elements, which evidently shows that which reduces other elements means which helps in reducing or gain of electrons. So which evidently shows that more capability to lose electrons as compared to that of the reduced one. Got it? Next we have the non-metal displacement reaction. The non-metal displacement redox reaction includes hydrogen, because most of the elements require or contains hydrogen and oxygen. So we need to concentrate on this. So the non-metal displacement redox reaction include hydrogen displacement and rarely occurring reaction involving oxygen displacement. All alkali metals and some alkaline earth metals, that is S block elements, first group and second group elements, and some of the calcium, strontium and barium metals which are very good reductants will displace hydrogen from its cold water. That means these metals are very reactive compared to that of hydrogen. So they can reduce or they can remove the hydrogen or displace the hydrogen from the water. That means they are very highly reactive towards the water. You can see sodium, when it is been added to the water, the hydrogen is released. Students, you need to remember this also. In your high school, you might have seen this, or you might have watched. What happens when sodium metal is being added to water? We get a yellow color flame. It will be popping up on the water. It is vigorously reactive towards water. Why we get the yellow color here? Because when the sodium is reacting with water, a very high or huge amount of energy will be released, and hydrogen is a exhaustible element. It is also present in the given system. So actually the hydrogen reaches its ignition temperature and it flames or it catches flame. So it is very dangerous to touch the sodium with the bare hands also, it is not stored in the open area, it is been stored in the kerosene or organic solvents to eradicate the explosion. So sodium reacts very vigorously with water to give sodium hydroxide and hydrogen gas. So the similar thing you have to remember here, students, water is there, hydrogen is there. That means whatever the metal we are adding, they are displacing hydrogen from its water and forming hydroxide with evolution of hydrogen gas. Less reactive metals such as magnesium and iron react with steam to produce dihydrogen gas. Dihydrogen is nothing but hydrogen molecule. Instead of saying hydrogen molecule, they say dihydrogen because two atoms are present in one molecule of hydrogen. So, why the less reactive elements react with steam? Why it is reacting with steam? The cold water will react, the normal alkali metals will react with cold water because they don't want a heat energy to be given. Whereas here, the magnesium and iron also reacts with water, but it is being given a high energy, or we are giving some sort of energy where it is been forming steam. So, we can say magnesium and iron can react with steam. Steam is nothing but the water vapors. So when magnesium reacts with steam, we get the hydrogen which is been removed, or the displacement of hydrogen takes place by magnesium hydroxide. Even the same reaction happens with iron. Iron reacts with the steam to give iron oxide and we get water molecule, hydrogen molecule. Here you need to remember, students, it is not iron hydroxide, it is iron oxide. Got it? Good. Next, dihydrogen, that is nothing but hydrogen molecule. Hydrogen from acids may even be produced by such metals which do not react with steam. Here, we are not speaking about the very highly reactive metals, not the steam. We are speaking about acids. We are speaking about acids. The hydrogen gas can be liberated from the acids by weak metals. That means which cannot easily displace the hydrogen in water and steam, that can displace the hydrogen from its acid medium when it is in acid. Cadmium and tin are examples of such metals. So if you take any of the acids and add cadmium or tin into it, they can displace hydrogen from the acid. For example, if it is a hydrochloric acid, we can get cadmium chloride with hydrogen released. Next, we have zinc, which is reacting with HCl, which gives you zinc chloride with hydrogen, because zinc is a weak substance, or it doesn't react with water or steam to give hydrogen molecule. Instead, the same metal will react with hydrochloric acid to give hydrogen gas and forms a salt of zinc chloride. Similarly, magnesium also, as we say, magnesium doesn't react with cold water, it reacts with steam. But here, when it is been added to the acid, from the acid, hydrogen can be easily displaced from magnesium and we get magnesium chloride plus hydrogen gas. Similar with the iron, iron displaces hydrogen from hydrochloric acid to form iron chloride. Next, we have the reactivity of metals is reflected in the rate of hydrogen gas. So, when we are speaking about a strong and a weak metal, how do you understand the one is strong metal, other is weak metal? We can understand it by just seeing whether it is reacting with cold water or steam or with acid. But when you are treating it with acid, what happens is that the rate of hydrogen gas which is being evolved. If I take a multiple beakers or a container, and in all I have a same molar of same acid. For example, HCl, I am taking of same quantity also. Here, if I add sodium, magnesium, zinc, and copper. So what happens is that the hydrogen which is been liberated will be faster when I add sodium compared to that of magnesium, then zinc, then copper. I hope in copper it will be very least reactive because copper cannot displace hydrogen easily. So you will not get any react or bubbles formed in the copper. Instead, you can find in magnesium and very less in zinc, because that rate of hydrogen gas which is being evolved give the strength or reactivity of the metals. So which is the slowest for the least. You can see the hydrogen rate is slowest for the least active metals like iron and fastest for the most active metals like magnesium, sodium and etc. Sodium generally will not add into the acid because if you add into the water itself, it is explosive. Explosive. If you add into the acid, the beakers or the test tubes can crack. So better not to use sodium. Okay. Very less active metals which may occur in native states such as silver and gold do not react with hydrochloric acid. Students, do you know about the silver coating and the gold polishing? If you have a chain of silver or gold, you will give it for polishing, so they remove the outer layer and the inner layer will be lustrous, as metals has the property of lustrous, so you get that shining property. But that outer layer cannot be easily removed by any of the acids. Instead, they mix the 1/3 ratio of hydrochloric acid and nitric acid in 1:2 ratio, and then that gives you the polishing or reaction of silver or gold with the acid. So you can say even gold and silver are least reactive with acids. That means they cannot displace hydrogen from their acid form also. We have already discussed that the metals like zinc, copper, silver, through their tendency to lose the electron, show their reducing activity ordered to that of copper. Zinc is greater than that of copper than that of silver. We have seen that, right? So for halogens, what happens? For halogens are fluorine, chlorine, bromine and iodine. So here fluorine is so reactive that it can replace chlorine, bromide or iodide ions from any of its solution. So here we have water. When fluorine is added to that, the oxygen can also be removed. Here hydrogen is not removed, oxygen is removed because we are having electronegativity for oxygen and fluorine. So fluorine displaces oxygen here, as fluorine is more reactive than that of oxygen. Fluorine is so reactive that it attacks water and displaces oxygen from water. Hope you understand this? Good. Next we'll check with which is the highly reactive halogen, which is the least reactive halogen. So the recovery of halogen from their halides require an oxidation process. So here what happens? We have chlorine which is reacting with the potassium bromide, where bromine is in its combined form. So that reacts with chlorine, potassium bromide reacts with chlorine, where bromine has been ejected out and chlorine occupies its place. So this is a non-metal and non-metal displacement reaction. Whatever the displacement is taking place, either it is metal or a non-metal, you have to concentrate that the one which is stronger can displace the weaker one. So by this reaction, what you can understand is that chlorine is more reactive than bromine. Similarly, chlorine can also displace iodine, as iodine is weaker than chlorine. So we have KCl which has been formed and iodine has been displaced from Ki, potassium iodide. When you take the ions, so chlorine is an elementary form, bromine is an ionic form. So bromine will have one electron extra in its atom, that will be gained by chlorine. We get -1 for chlorine, where 0 for bromine. That means -2 0, 0 to -1. So here loss of electron takes place for bromine, and bromine undergoes oxidation, whereas chlorine undergoes reduction. Similarly, with the same example they are showing here, chlorine is undergoing reduction, iodine is undergoing oxidation. Now you can resemble this. When X minus is an ion, or X is a halogen with the negative charge, one electron extra in it, they can lose their electron and form the element. Okay? And chemical means are available to oxidize chlorine, bromine, iodine. So we don't say it as chlorine ion, bromine ion, iodine ion. Instead, we call it as chloride, bromide and iodide. As fluorine is strongest oxidizing agent, we need to remember fluorine is the strongest oxidizing agent. There is no way to convert fluorine or fluoride ions into fluorine molecule. Got it? Good. This is the next disproportionation reaction. We finished with the combination reaction, combination or decomposition reaction, displacement reaction, and this is the fourth one, the disproportionation reaction. As I already informed you while solving out the problem, iodine, right, which will give you 2 or more types of oxidation number for a same element. So in a disproportionation reaction, an element in one oxidation state is simultaneously oxidized and it is also reduced. The same element is been oxidized, same element is been reduced. One of the reacting substance in a disproportionation reaction always contain an element that can exist at least in 3 oxidation states. The element in the form of acting substance, reacting substance, is in the intermediate oxidation state, and both higher and lower oxidation states of that element are formed in the reaction. The decomposition of hydrogen peroxide is a familiar example of reaction where oxygen experiences disproportionation reaction. You can see here H2O2. What is the hydrogen peroxide? As I said, peroxide will always have -1 charge for oxygen. So here oxygen will have -1, hydrogen will have +1. Whereas in water, we have -2 and hydrogen have +1. And oxygen in the elementary form, it will be having 0. That means one oxygen is been undergoing reduction and the other is undergoing oxidation. So -1 to plus, -1 to -2, if you say, it is gain of electrons, so it is reduced. Whereas -1 to 0 means it is been loss of electron, hence it is oxidized. Here hydrogen is neither oxidized nor reduced, it is same. What is undergoing the reduction and oxidation? Same element. All these examples what we saw till now, we were experiencing only one element giving or other element will be reduced, like taking. One element will be oxidizing, other element will be reducing. But here you can understand in this disproportionation reactions, the same element will have different oxidation numbers. The same element will undergo reduction and same undergo oxidation. Got it? That type of reactions will be called as disproportionation reaction. Here the oxygen of peroxide, which is present in -1 state, is converted to 0 oxidation state in oxygen molecule and decreases to -2 in the water. Okay. Phosphorus, sulfur, chlorine undergoes disproportionation reaction with alkaline medium. Alkaline means base medium. We can see here phosphorus, when it is been reacted with base in presence of water, we can get PH3 phosphine and also hypophosphorus. Here the phosphorus will have different oxidation states. It will be 0 here, elementary form P4. So here it will be +3. Here if you calculate, it will be 2 plus X plus 2 2s are minus 4 is equals to -1. So it will be plus how much? X -2 plus 1 plus 1. So here it will have +1 state. So +3 plus 1 and here 0. So same phosphorus is undergoing oxidation, it is undergoing reduction in the same reaction. Similarly, sulfur, when it is in alkaline process, we get sulfur with -2. Here it is 0 as it is the elementary form. Here we'll be getting about 3 2s are 6. 6 minus 2 is 4. 4 by 2 is 2. So +2. So 0 to -2, 0 to +2. Reduction and oxidation for sulfur is taking place. Next, chlorine, when it has been reacting with alkaline or OH minus, we get ClO minus. We know here we'll get +7 state, right? And here chlorine is -1. Here it will be 0. So in the elementary form, some of the elements like this can undergo reduction and simultaneously oxidation, and such reactions will be called as disproportionation reaction. Fluorine in the alkaline, you'll get F minus and also OF2, where here F will be having 0, -1. Here -2 plus 2, it will be having OF2, right? F is -1, where -2, so it will be +1. Okay. Next, we'll just have some of the questions here, students. Which of the following species do not show disproportionation reaction and why? We need to say why they are not showing the disproportionation reaction. You can see ClO minus and we have this species. Also write reaction for each of the species that disproportionates. So among the oxo anions of chlorine listed above, that is Cl4 minus and you can see ClO4 minus. This is a oxo anions that does not disproportionate. Why it doesn't? Because it is in the oxo anion chloride is present in the highest oxidation state, that is +7. So that cannot come under the disproportionation reaction. The disproportionation reaction for the other 3 oxo anions of chlorine are possible. As we see here, we have 3 ClO minus gives you Cl minus and ClO3 minus with +1, -1 and +5 as oxidation number for chlorine. So +1 is being converted into -1 and +5. So chlorine is undergoing reduction as well as oxidation. The next one you can see here, it is ClO2 minus with +3 state, here +5 state, here -1 state. So here again you can have the disproportionation reaction. And finally here ClO3 minus, you can also have here +5 state, -1 state and +7 state. Got it? But generally this cannot undergo disproportionation reaction. What does they mean here. ClO minus can be divided into two separate substances which can undergo disproportionation reaction, and ClO2 minus, O2 minus is also undergoing disproportionation reaction, and ClO3 minus is also undergoing disproportionation reaction, but ClO4 minus cannot undergo disproportionation reaction. Because why it doesn't? Because it is having the maximum oxidation state. It cannot undergo disproportionation reaction because we require more energy to do that. Next, suggest a scheme of classification for the following redox reactions. You have N2O2 which gives you NO. So can you say the first reaction, what is this? So the reaction A, the compound nitric oxide NO is formed by the combination of elements oxygen and nitrogen, and so we can call it as a combination redox reaction. Did you understand? A plus B giving rise to C. What about the second one? The second one, you can see one is splitting into three different compounds. So two compounds and one element. So three different substances. We can call it as decomposition reaction, where the reaction B involves the breaking down of a lead nitrate into three components. Therefore, we can categorize it as a decombination or decomposition reaction. The next one is that NaH plus H2O. Sodium hydride is reacting with water molecule to give sodium hydroxide and hydrogen molecule. So what do you understand by this? Is hydrogen displaced? We'll check that. So in reaction 3, hydrogen of water has been displaced by hydride into dihydrogen, and therefore we can call this as displacement reaction, displacement redox reaction. The fourth one is we have NO2 which is reacting in the alkaline medium to give NO2 minus and NO3 minus. By seeing this itself, you can understand the reaction is disproportionation reaction, because here it is plus 4 nitrogen, here it is plus 3, here it is plus 5, right? So the nitrogen is undergoing reduction as well as oxidation simultaneously. We can say the reaction D involves disproportionation reaction of NO2 which is having plus 4 state, NO2 minus which is having plus 3 state, and NO3 minus which is having plus 5 state, and hence we can call this as disproportionation redox reaction. Hope you understand this, students. Do you have any doubts? Fine. We Vistas Learning, as usually I say, we provide the quality education for all. Students, if you have any doubts, we are here, your friends, educators or guide. We always help you with your studies and education. If you have any of the doubts regarding this session or any other sessions, you can get back to us. We are always happy to help you with your studies. Thanks for watching, students. See you in my next class.